Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking what might look like a mountain of dense federal guidelines and turning it into a real, on-the-ground look at the Prison Rape Elimination Act, specifically how it operates right here in New Hampshire. You know, policy documents can be pretty dry, but the real-world impact of these standards, it's absolutely profound. We're going to break down exactly what this act demands, how it's tracked, and why it matters for literally every facility, from massive state prisons down to your local municipal holding cells. So, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the federal framework, look at the core pillars of compliance, take a peek inside New Hampshire corrections, explore the unique challenges in jails, and finally, wrap things up with best practices and accountability. Let's dive right in.
Section 1. The Federal Framework. Moving beyond bureaucratic jargon.
Grounding ourselves right off the bat, PREA, that's the Prison Rape Elimination Act, is the federal framework guiding how correctional institutions prevent, detect, and respond to sexual abuse and harassment. But here's the absolute key takeaway. PREA is not just some policy checklist gathering dust on a supervisor's desk. No way. It's an active, daily system. It is completely woven into the fabric of staff training, reporting, medical responses, you name it. It's a living, breathing, operational standard designed to fundamentally improve safety for people held in custody.
Look at this quote from the U.S. Department of Justice. The sheer gravity of their stance here is pretty striking. They explicitly state their focus is on protecting the rights of people confined, and listen to this, they can and will act when a government systematically deprives people of those rights. They even have a dedicated prison rape elimination working group for this broader effort. What does that tell us? It tells us the federal government isn't just handing down a friendly suggestion. They're handing down a mandate with real enforcement teeth to back it up. They will actively intervene if systemic rights violations occur.
Moving on to Section 2, Core Pillars of Compliance. The mechanics of a safety system.
Okay, so building a practical safety system relies on 7 operational pillars. It starts with prevention planning, spotting risks before they even happen. Then you've got rigorous staff and resident training so everyone knows their reporting duties. Next up is screening and classification at intake, right? Identifying vulnerabilities from day one. You also need safe, confidential reporting channels, which must be followed immediately by prompt investigations. And if an incident does happen, rapid medical and mental health response is an absolute must. Finally, the whole thing is tied together with strict audits and data review. The crucial point here is balance. You can't have world-class investigations but terrible intake screening. All these pillars have to hold up the same roof simultaneously.
Section 3. Inside New Hampshire Corrections. Grounding the federal policy in 2023 data. 91. In their 2023 consolidated report, the New Hampshire Department of Corrections documented 91 allegations of sexual abuse or harassment. Now, I know that number might sound alarming at first glance, but in the context of PREA, high reporting is actually a sign of a functional system. It means people in custody actually have the channels to speak up, and they're using them. And importantly, every single one of those 91 allegations was rigorously investigated by highly trained internal affairs investigators.
Now, from that initial pool of 91, exactly 10 allegations were forwarded to outside organizations where the incidents actually occurred. This is a really critical detail in the PREA standards. Say an allegation involves something that happened at a different facility, maybe before the person was transferred. Well, there's a strict rule for that. Mandatory notifications absolutely must be made within 72 hours under PREA Standard 115.63. The whole system is designed to ensure that moving a resident doesn't mean moving away from accountability.
And this right here brilliantly illustrates why this is so much more than a paperwork exercise. Out of all those investigated claims, the system tracked and substantiated exactly 3 cases last year. That's 2 for sexual abuse and 1 for sexual harassment. Seeing this funnel, going from 91 initial allegations down to just 3 substantiated cases, really highlights a system that is actively listening, thoroughly investigating, and reaching documented conclusions based entirely on the evidence.
Compliance must be active, not assumed. For correctional leaders looking at these numbers, the message couldn't be clearer. You can't just slap a PREA poster on the wall and call it a day, assuming your facility is magically safe. This system demands constant vigilance. It means continuously tracking whether cases are open, substantiated, or closed, and truly following the data wherever it leads.
Section 4. Unique Challenges in Jails. The Micro-Level Realities.
To really understand how PREA is applied, we have to contrast prisons and jails, because they are completely different ecosystems. It's like night and day. In prisons, you have settled housing units, long-term custody, and established daily routines. But jails, they deal with transient populations, rapid intakes, and short-term or pretrial holds. It's incredibly fast-paced. Because of that, a strong PREA program in a county jail needs to be working from the very first hours of custody, long before a person is even unpacked or settled into a unit. That initial chaotic transition period is when vulnerability is at its absolute highest.
Because of that transient nature, early intervention is literally everything. It requires immediate intake screening for vulnerabilities, highly active staff supervision, making sure you have the right camera coverage, and prompt referral of any allegations. And here is a really critical fact to keep in mind. Even if a local municipal jail isn't officially part of the State Department of Corrections, they're still operating within the broader PREA framework. They face audits, grant-related compliance expectations, and intense public scrutiny. The DOJ's eye is firmly on every single level of confinement.
Section 5. Best Practices and Accountability, the ongoing road ahead.
So to truly strengthen PREA compliance, facilities absolutely have to focus on consistency. I mean, a policy on paper is useless if the staff doesn't know it or if the residents don't trust it, right? It really comes down to 5 key steps. 1. Screen at intake for vulnerability and potential abusiveness. 2. Provide multiple reporting paths, and that includes options completely outside the immediate housing unit. 3. Document every single allegation and referral with extreme care. 4. Guarantee immediate medical and mental health referrals without any delay. And 5. Use audit findings to actually correct weaknesses before they turn into repeat problems. The most effective programs in New Hampshire take these exact steps: the policy, the training, the documentation, and the accountability, and merge them into one consistent daily routine.
Which really brings us to the core thesis of our explainer today. PREA compliance is an ongoing safety practice. It is not a one-time certification. Looking at the landscape today, allegations are still being investigated, audits are continuously being scheduled, and federal standards are actively shaping how facilities operate. The big takeaway for any jail administrator, sheriff, or correctional leader is that this demands active, daily follow-through. You literally never finish PREA compliance. You just practice it every single day.
I'm going to leave you with a provocative thought to consider. If PREA is an ongoing, everyday practice, is your local facility ready for active, everyday compliance? Seriously, think about the county jails and holding facilities right in your own community. Are they prepared for the rigorous transparency that true safety demands? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking those hard questions, keep digging into the data, and keep learning.